Everybody, 1, 2, 3 here.
Hey, so are you ready to race in the P123 field against 4 3s?
Solo for 73 miles.
Hey everyone, this is Henleyville Road Race 2025. The field of threes, the category 3 field that I'm racing in, unfortunately only had 4 guys show up. We had 5 pre-reg, but Eastwar and I were talking game about what we were going to plan to do the whole time, rolling attacks and whatnot, because we thought we were just going to be a field of 4. We weren't really sure what was going to happen. But they actually ended up putting us with the P123s. So this is my first road race with pros. So I was excited, scared, a little worried. The crits I've done with the pros are pretty brutal. Up to this point, I've done a couple races with them, and usually I only last about 20 minutes. Um, Road races, especially a flat one like this, are a little bit easier to keep up with everyone, but speak of the devil, it's gonna start getting hard here as we move towards the tailwind section. This guy from VFR goes up the road, so we're working a little bit to pull him back. There's basically only one real place where there's some challenging parkour in terms of like incline, and we just passed it a little while ago in the feed zone, and we'll get back to that later. But here we're doing 35 miles an hour in the tailwind.
Go, Eastwar, block in!
This is Jajin and for Moonshine Racing attacking us. He's one of the 2 riders that Eastwar and I are actually trying to mark in this race. I was blocked in there, so I was trying to get Eastwar to go respond to that move as soon as we can. The last thing we want is to have to just stay on the front and chase. It was a very kind of confusing predicament to be with the pros because we weren't really sure how they were going to behave in relation to us since we're a separate category. I wasn't even sure if they knew that we were in a separate category or not. Because if I go up the road, why should they chase? So actually, what I kind of wanted to happen was to get up the road and maybe 1 or 2 of them bridge to me, and I just work with them, and I'll pull full gas. I don't care as long as we stay up the road away from the other 3s in our field. Um, but what I didn't know during the race actually is that this pink team speed block is actually still Tayrun. And the one other guy that's in our category, Anthony Falks, is on Tayrun, but is in a different kit because he's a category 3. He's not on their pro team. But I think they actually were kind of riding with him like he was a bit of a teammate. You can see Tayrun has about 4 or 5 guys in this field, so they're pretty much going to just determine what happens this race. So most of the attacks are coming from them, albeit the VFR rider was sending a lot of Hail Marys. And he was the one guy who bridged to one of my moves coming up here, but I wasn't super sure what Speedblock's plan was. It seemed like they were only going to be satisfied if they had either one guy up the road just solo, or they were just riding for their sprinter. But they ended up taking, I think, 4th in this race. Yeah, I just double checked and they somehow came out with a 4th place, although they put Anthony Falks on the podium because even though he's not in their category, he still finished 3rd in like the whole group of P123, which was kind of funny to see their Cat 3 finish higher than their pros. But yeah, I mean, they're just going to make the race as hard as they physically can, and we're just going to see that. We're just going to count how many times I do 1,000 watts on the flat here trying to close moves. We're we're playing the game here a little bit, letting the wheel go. Honestly, the group up the road there was all pros, so if we just let them go, I'm much happier about our chances. Just 2-on-2. Um, and why not make them do some work? Because they were playing that game all day long, letting the wheels go, Tayrun, because they could just get two guys on the front and just have one guy, just let the guy go up the road, and we'll see some fun tactics here. But yeah, this parkour is the only place you can really make anything happen or make your effort worthwhile is in this tailwind section, because once we're in the headwind, you're gonna see no one's really incentivized to try to make the race hard, because it's just so much harder to make your effort worthwhile. And here we see the VFR guy going again. Um, he was able to pull out second even with all the attacks. So I think this guy Victor Perez is mad strong. So shout out to him. Um, as we're doing 33 miles an hour here, still on the flat. Um, Eastmore and I were trying to stay spread out in the group. This is my teammate, the guy in front of me right now, if you weren't sure. I race for Rio Strada as well. Um, we're trying to stay spread out in the group because that way we can make sure we're covering both the guys. And here there's finally been a lull, so I sent a nice attack from the back. I got good separation. Again, I wasn't really sure what the pros were going to do in regards to marking me or letting me go. I don't think they really cared necessarily, but I don't see why they wouldn't try to why Tayrun wouldn't try to attack across to me and see if they can just get a breakaway going. Because there was only like four guys that weren't on speed block in the field. Um, but I spent a good minute, 5 minutes up here before one guy bridges to me. Again, Victor doing a ton of work here, but it just goes nowhere because they just work and pull us back. Right as I'm working and right as I look back here, the pros actually pull around me, so it kind of jump scared me. It's not a fun feeling. As soon as you look back, the guys just fly over you. It just totally catches you off guard. Um, yeah, you can see it's going to slow down here a little bit finally. Um, as we speed things up a little bit, trying to get that heart rate down after that solo effort. I like this course. Um, it suits me because it's pretty solidly flat and the climb isn't too bad. Right here, I was starting to take a sip from my water bottle, and of course, you know Murphy's Law. If you go to take a sip of water, people are gonna attack. That's just how it goes. So then we're doing another 800 watts to sprint back to that wheel. Um, just clinging on for dear life. This is already the longest time I've spent racing pros and not gotten dropped. So I'm already pretty happy with that. Um, you know nothing's going on if you're just staying in the same formation. People were rotating a little bit, especially at the beginning, but like I said, once we're on the flat area here, going back into the headwind more or less, people just aren't as incentivized to attack. So here I notice, so these two guys in front of us in yellow and blue are the two guys in the Cat 3s racing me and Isor. And they were talking the whole race just to talk strategy. So I knew they were up to some shenanigans. And I knew as soon as this Tayrun guy got in front of me, it was a bad idea not to be on the rear wheel because what do you have it? They're going to attack, and I'm going to have to jump out and close this. Um, Honestly, not too big of a deal. it was pretty obvious, so and I'd be pretty silly to let that go. Speeding up, I having to cover another move. So this was starting to hurt. I really needed to stay on their wheels, so I shouldn't have to be doing this kind of effort, wasting my matches like this. But I think this was the most sprinting out of the saddle I've ever done in a road race because it was just non-stop attacks in certain sections. But they're just gonna roll it. I think we got a little bit of a gap here because they just didn't care. But eventually, everyone comes back together, and the uh, the cycle sport guy Ryan Gorman actually wanted everyone to take a pee break. So they're yelling, "Make sure you pull over! Don't be that guy!" So on and so forth. Um, but we're back on the climb. They're letting the wheel go again. I'm having to close it. Doing some fun watts. Again, this is pretty much the only place in the entire course where you can make things challenging. Um, yeah, you can see so far we've only done 536 feet of uphill. So they got these cool new things for neutral feed, which is really nice that you can grab bottles if you don't have anyone here. My godfather Bob is actually standing right there, and I reached for the bottle, but he was not expecting us to come by that quick. Here as Jajin pulls off, uh, I think he's kind of not expecting me to just start pulling an effort, so I started going a little bit here, but it just doesn't go anywhere. The pros, I mean, it's just a different kind of racing, uh, pro 1-2s. Because back when I was in the fours, if I did a move like that, I for sure would have gotten a gap, but you're not just gonna roll away from these guys at 500 watts if they care to stay in your wheel. So we're just gonna settle back into a nice rotation, let things ease off for a little bit. So trying to stay on Anthony Folks' wheel. It's good that Iswar is marking Zhejian. I would have liked him to stay up a little further sometimes. Like right now, we should probably be up there with one of us. So, and here they go again. If I had had this kind of fitness when I was racing the fours, I would have had a real fun time because it's just hard to believe that we're actually attacking when we're already going 30 miles an hour. I mean, it is a tailwind, so that does help with the speed, but it's just a different kind of experience because you just wouldn't think that would be a good idea, but when you're going at these kind of speeds, um, as soon as you lose the wheel in front of you, it's just they're gone, and you're having to do 1,000 watts if you want to bridge back to them. So you can see pretty much anytime the speed dips below 27, 26 miles an hour, someone's going to attack. You see we're jumping up to 1,100, and I don't even know if that guy got out of the saddle or not. One thing I've really learned this past season is to not just look at the rider in front of you. You really have to be looking up the road. And that was probably the reason I fractured my clavicle a few years ago, is because I was just so dialed into the guy in front of me, and you really can't be so tunnel vision in a sport that's this dynamic and flowing, because there's such an accordion effect. And if you can get on the power a little bit sooner when you know it's going to get fast, just saves that little bit extra and smooths out the effort a little bit more. All these little things are super important when it comes down to racing. So this was probably the most fun I've had in a road race all season. Because honestly, in the fours, nothing happened in road races. Like Cantua Creek, first race of the year, we pretty much sat. It was like a group ride for 60 miles. As Victor attacks again. The one thing on the front here you don't want to do is slow down too much. Because as soon as those guys come by you, they're going to come by with way more speed. So you see how much faster that guy's going. He's trying to bridge to that or mark that. Ryan Gorman's closing that gap. But if you slow all that the way down to 20 there and those guys are coming with speed behind you, it's just going to hurt so much more. So just sit at threshold and eventually someone will come around you, but don't let your speed drop too low because that's just going to make you pay. A fake attack. That's a good example of knowing it's going to speed up, so I try to get on the power a little bit quicker just to smooth that effort over. We're just going to take a little break. Nothing's going to happen. Everyone's going to chill out a little bit. I get to the front again. I'm thinking, I don't see the other threes. Let's just send another little one right here. Just roll off the front, and when you know it, they just let me go. So we're gonna do another 5 minute TT for fun. And I'm not trying to get like super far ahead. I'm just trying to get 100 yards and see if some of the pros will bridge up to me. Um, but didn't seem like they were very interested in that for whatever reason. So we're still going here. At least I did make Anthony pull us back. Trying to get back in the wheel. Getting up to 700 watts. It's hurting. Let this guy fill in front of me. I'm kind of sad the season's over. This is the most I've raced in a season. I've done about 20, 21 races this year. I suppose there might be other races in other parts of the state or in other parts of the country, but not really that invested into driving super far or traveling for racing at this point in time. But it was a really fun season. Racing with the boys. Two of my teammates and I were both able to upgrade to category 3 this season. I stayed a 4 a little bit to help them each win one race, which was really cool and really fun to have that experience of helping them, doing the lead out, help cover moves, help pull people back off the front. I really was enjoying that. So we'll see what happens next season with Iswar going to Team California, under 23 development team. Happy for him. He's going to have a lot of more support there. And those guys are strong. Surprised they didn't come out for this race. I don't know what happened with this race. It didn't seem like anyone was really interested in coming out to this race. If you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments, because I thought it was fine. I mean, I don't think it's any different from like Snelling, really. Um, the pavement's better than Snelling, if anything. Time to speed things up again as speed block sends another attack. I do think staying mid pack is better because when you're tail gunning like I am here, it just feels like you're doing more power than you would be in the middle of the pack. But nothing's gonna happen. I roll to the front. We're just chilling out, having fun. Why not be on the front? I always get in trouble being on the front too much. People always give me a hard time. Keegan, get off the front. Keegan, get off the front. You're gonna race like this if you practice like this. Well, maybe they're right. I think coming up is about to be actually one of the hardest parts of the race because I just recovered. I'm trying to recover from that time trial effort I did a little bit ago. You see my heart rate's still up at 166. And they just keep sending it. So yeah, they're really their end goal was to just get a guy off the front solo and make everyone give up. But the other pros were not letting that happen. So I mean these guys are strong. Ryan Gorman, I think, is the best all-around rider in the category ones. Watched him destroy everyone at Golden States at our team's race this year. And here they're up the road, so I'm suffering. I'm already hurting at this point. I can't sprint across a gap that big. He can. Victor can. Thankfully, Suarez is going to come around me and help pull this back because I don't know if I would have been able to. Maybe. We're going to jump up to 800 just to get back into the wheel. That slingshot effect, Suarez getting out of my draft, coming around. Eventually, we pull that back. I realize I can just let Eastwar's wheel go too, because Anthony and Zhejian. Actually, Zhejian's up the road. But I can make these guys close the wheel, make them do some extra work, get some payback for all the times they're letting the wheels go. They were not playing nice. That's for damn sure. This series of attacks was probably the hardest I've ever had to dig deep into my mental to really stay with it because, man, this was fast. I mean, we're in a slight headwind here doing 28, 29 in the draft, doing 350 sometimes. And I rarely get up into 190s. If I'm getting up into 190s, usually it's when it's hot that I'll get up into the 190s, but this was a nice cool day. I think it was in the mid to high 60s. So, but yep, we're just out of the saddle sprinting. Trying to close down that group. I was on my last legs here. They're looking back, seeing if I've gotten back onto the wheel. I do get back to the wheel, fortunately. I don't know what the rule is for the guy that ended up winning in the black kit way up front here. Alex Aikens racing for Waldo Racing. I thought I said Mike's Bikes on his kit. I'm not sure if they're also affiliated. Um, but yeah, this guy on the left here in the all black, white socks, white helmet. The helmet he's wearing looks like my Giro time trial helmet. Are you allowed to wear that helmet? I don't know what the rules are with that, but I have that helmet, so if it's legal, maybe I should race with it on a flat race. Maybe it is faster. Look a little silly, but if you don't care about that, then Victor's playing the game here, making me close this down. Not sure why he wants to let that go. It's not like he's represented up there, so didn't really make much sense to me why he's just trying to kill me for some reason. But we're just gonna hold 600 watts as long as we can and try to. I averaged 270 for 2 hours, which was a new personal best of mine. Here there's splits behind me. So I'm in this group of 5 right now. And I'm holding on for dear life because I have to be on Anthony's wheel here. I can't let this go. One thing I'm getting used to is trying to put these videos together because taking 90 minutes of footage and trying to compress it down into a 30-minute video is quite a bit of work. And you really have to try to remember what happened during the race and what moves were important. So bear with me as I'm getting better at that. So the GoPro only lasts 90 minutes, so I'm trying to figure out for the future if I should just start it at the end of the race. One person told me that you can kind of start it and stop it, but that does kind of sound like a headache. But yeah, there's no way I'm gonna swap a battery mid-race or bring an extra GoPro. So the footage is about to end essentially. Nothing's really happening right now. We're just finishing the second lap. My What ends up happening is Zhejiang gets up the road before the one climb where the feed zone is, and the pros start attacking on the feed zone, and I kind of had this uh misinformed idea that the neutral feed was neutral, so you're not supposed to attack. But yeah, my teammate and I end up slowing down to the point where we actually end up getting dropped, and we chase for about 20 minutes trying to get back on. But we pull the plug eventually because we're just totally out of gas. Um, and Zhejiang apparently lost his saddle, so that was unfortunate to hear. So Anthony Folks was the sole finisher surviving with the P123s of the threes. So kudos to him. I think that's his last race in the threes. He's catching up to twos. So I won't see him for a while. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.